breaking news. Call it a Christmas tragedy.
Minister of Health Terence Yalsing is sending condolences to the loved ones of Khadeejah Taylor.
Blood sacrifice is pretty central to voodoo.
Yeah.
But there's also the association with human sacrifice, ritual crimes.
22-year-old UE student who lost her life under strange circumstances in what her relatives have attributed to demon possession.
I don't think any parent should have to go through what that mother went through.
What in the world could you do for a person to do that to another person?
Family members relayed a shocking account of Taylor, who went from what they described as a perfect child to pulling out her hair from the roots, banging her head repeatedly on the wall, attacking family members, swearing and referring to herself as the devil.
It was 4 days before Christmas on December 21st, 2023, and the night was filled with festivities in the twin island of Trinidad and Tobago. It was that time of the year when the cultural tradition known as paranging rang out through the air with melodies that serenaded the Christmas spirit, stirring in citizens' hearts and souls. It was indeed a joyous time, but for one family in particular, it was shaping up to be a Christmas season only fabled in horror movies, because they would experience an ordeal that the mother could only describe as a conjured curse. According to 52-year-old Jennifer Sandy Taylor, it was leading up to the 21st of December that the alleged possession of her daughter, 22-year-old Khadeejah Taylor, began becoming apparent in her behavior. Khadeejah was a young, promising citizen residing in Pleasantville, Trinidad, one half of the beautiful Caribbean country of Trinidad and Tobago. At the time, she was a student at the University of the West Indies. Khadeejah was the first of 6 children to attend university, and her family had hoped she would achieve her dreams of becoming an attorney. She was well on the way to achieving that feat and more, before her life took a haunting turn. In an interview between the Express Media Company and Khadeejah's elder sister, Shanice, she told reporters her sister was a brilliant person who had big dreams and never allowed anything to distract her. She was bright from kindergarten. She attended the Seventh-day Adventist secondary school, where she excelled and was crowned the valedictorian. Her sister described a young woman who was not only the kindest person you'd ever meet, but someone who never took shortcuts and instead worked hard for everything she accomplished. Her mother, Jennifer, shared similar sentiments about Khadeejah's character and drive. She recalls her daughter being a cheerful and caring child who was loved by everyone around. She kept her head on and focused on her future, abstaining from the nightlife of parties and indulging in any kind of paraphernalia. By all things considered, Khadeejah was on a path to success and longevity, but her family claims that someone noticed that bright future and not only plotted on her downfall, but took it a step further and instigated it through the help of supernatural means. That alleged reality became apparent on Monday, December 11th, when Jennifer called her daughter, but said she did not recognize the person she was speaking with. Khadeejah would tell her she had not been eating or sleeping, which prompted her to immediately go to her daughter at the Curep location and bring her to their Pleasantville home. Normally, Khadeejah would stay with her employer of the food establishment where she worked part-time. It was an older woman, and the home was located in the area known as St. James. What the mother saw at the moment she picked her daughter up showed signs of something being wrong and out of the usual than her normal, glowing child. It would be a welcome direction if the story from here improved, but sadly, on the way home, Khadeejah grew increasingly worse in her abnormal behavior. Her mother, Jennifer, told reporters that Khadeejah covered her eyes with her hands for the entire journey home. What was more worrying was that she did not listen to her younger sister, who was also in the vehicle when she said they had arrived home. Instead, she insisted it had to be her mother to tell her for the statement to register. At this point, things were already going downhill, and the concerns of Jennifer were on the increase, understandably so. Paying attention to Khadeejah's movements next, the mother noted her daughter immediately got out of the car and went directly to her plants, picking what is known on the island as a wonder-of-the-world leaf and making tea. Knowledge of the plant's health benefits is a passed-on tradition through generations in the country. Sadly, any hopes of the tea providing any soothing effects to her dwindling mental state were crushed when Jennifer experienced Khadeejah spending the entirety of the remaining day crying, talking to herself, mumbling incohesive statements and praying incessantly. December 12th. The following day, Khadeejah's condition would plummet. According to her mother, she was awoken at around 1:30 a.m. to find Khadeejah opening her bedroom door. Her mother would question her behavior so late in the night, and that's when Khadeejah became sporadic and attacked her. Things have now gone from being a sudden, unstable mental state to violence towards the people she once loved and called family. The commotion continued, echoing through the silence of the night straight into the ears of Jennifer's stepdaughter and son, who came rushing to her aid. Together, they managed to hold down an uncontrollable Khadeejah. Once subdued, Jennifer would call her sister. With the adrenaline and presumably fear within her voice, she stated, "Girl, come. Something is wrong with your niece." Quickly, her sister came and took Khadeejah elsewhere, hoping that it would bring her some sense of calm, removing her from the house. But upon their return, she was still acting out of character. At this moment, the family decided to try bathing her, and while that eased her outbursts for a moment, that moment was fleeting, as Khadeejah again fell back into her unstable behavior. Throughout the night into the coming of dawn, the fight continued between Khadeejah and her family, doing their utmost to bring back some semblance of the young, intelligent girl they knew. But no matter how much they tried, she continued slipping further into a state of chaos, even going as far as inflicting bite wounds on her mother. Jennifer, realizing they were losing the battle the more it prolonged, turned and said to her son, "This is too much for us. Let us get something and try and restrain her." So said, so done. It was the last resort to try and contain the increasingly manic situation. Jennifer would speak with the media outlet Newsday, stating that during her many violent spells, her daughter became almost unrecognizable. She also revealed to them the dozens of scars on her forearm from Khadeejah's attacks, and also revealed what started convincing her that something more than a mental health issue was occurring. Talking to reporters, Jennifer said this about her daughter's behavior: "I'm not telling you about all the different languages she's talking. This, that, I don't know, but she's talking all different languages and saying she is the devil and doing devil signs and all kind of things." This was the final episode where her mother now believed there was foul play at hand, but not any regular criminal deed, but one that involved someone casting a curse on her daughter to be demon-possessed. In the lingo of Trinidad and Tobago's cultural heritage, the art of conjuring pacts with evil spiritual entities such as this is referred to as obeah, a dark magic art like voodoo. With this realization of a bullseye on her daughter's back by someone wanting to dim her bright future, her mother was now in a position of trying to figure out how to combat the supernatural assailant, trying to take her daughter's life. Time was what she needed, but time was the one thing slowly slipping away, just as Khadeejah's sanity. According to an interview with her mother, Khadeejah's condition worsened over the course of the next 2 weeks. Her recollection of her daughter told a harrowing decline as her death date drew near. Fear was now frequent in the heart of her mother, scared for the life of her daughter, as this alleged demonic possession was becoming relentless in its pursuit to take her life. Khadeejah soon began sinking deeper and deeper into an abyss of obscenity and insanity, becoming disrespectful towards her mother, spewing lewd remarks from her tongue.
Family members relayed a shocking account of Taylor, who went from what they described as a perfect child to pulling out her hair from the roots, banging her head repeatedly on the wall, attacking family members, swearing and referring to herself as the devil.
Talking to reporters, the mother would reveal an interesting piece of information. Apparently, the alleged manifesting of the demonic possession placed on Khadeejah began happening around the time when she visited a location known as Mount St. Benedict to pray with her employer. This revelation was spoken by Khadeejah in a voice that also went on to tell her mother how stupid she was for going and touching the cross. Upon hearing this information, one citizen online chimed in with commentary on the stories about St. Benedict. Apparently, it is alleged where many women have accused priests of forced intercourse and pedophilia. So it appears there was some sort of history that made others wary of that destination. Desperation kicked in to try and save her daughter, convinced someone was behind the spirit placed on Khadeejah. Her family took her to a Hindu pundit on Tuesday, December 19th, to try and combat spirit with spirituality. The pundit, who is said to hold the know-how to ascertain the factors surrounding spiritual attacks, told the mother that someone had placed something on her daughter to remove her 5 senses. With the alleged confirmation that her daughter was fighting for her life due to the malicious intent of an assailant dealing in the arts of dark magic, the next step to try and get Khadeejah treated was to take her to a spiritual healer. This took them on a journey to the location of Siparia, where Jennifer and her daughter stayed until Thursday morning. But from that Tuesday to Thursday morning, Khadeejah would lose the fight for her life. The date is December 19th, 6 days before Christmas. The spiritual healer began trying to cleanse Khadeejah of the alleged demonic possession by first bathing her and using an enchanting prayer over her. According to the recollection of her mother, that showed some signs of hope as Khadeejah experienced an improvement in her condition. But that glimmer of hope didn't last long. She told reporters that one moment her daughter is good, and then afterwards the possession begins taking her over, causing her to say things like her body is on fire, and when you feel her skin, the temperature is like that of a blaze. The situation was dire, but Jennifer refused to give up on her daughter, who was under attack from an alleged invisible entity cast upon her by an assailant wanting to take her life. The mother would sleep beside Khadeejah on Wednesday night, December 20th, 5 days before Christmas. She would be awoken by Khadeejah's breathing, which had changed and felt labored. That's when she took her to the Siparia health facility, where unfortunately Khadeejah was pronounced dead on Thursday, December 21st at 2:25 a.m., 4 days before Christmas.
Minister of Health Terence Yelsing is sending condolences to the loved ones of Khadeejah Taylor, the 22-year-old UWI student who lost her life under strange circumstances, and what her relatives have attributed to demon possession.
Khadeejah fought for her life, but what was alleged to have been a case of obeah was also fighting to take that life, and ultimately the alleged demon possessing her won. Doctors at the Siparia health facility told police, apart from coming into the facility with foam around her mouth, Khadeejah also had minor abrasions to her forehead, hands, feet and belly. It was clear she endured something that was taunting her mind, sending her into her manic state. The question was it a demonic possession placed on her by someone, as the mother believes, or was it a mental break due to an underlying health issue? That Thursday afternoon, sitting with reporters from media outlet Newsday outside her home at Pleasantville as incense burnt inside, Jennifer said there was nothing modern medicine could explain about what happened to her daughter. In her words, she stated that medical staff could say what they wanted, but her daughter's condition was not medical. She went on to say when she watched her child, she saw the devil in her, with even her mouth smelling unpleasant from the possession. Describing her daughter as an angel, the single mother said there was no doubt in her mind that a demon had possessed her through someone's ill will. Jennifer said her daughter acted in that erratic way for the first time during the ordeal, but was usually a well-behaved and academically successful girl. You could feel the weight on her heart for the loss of her daughter, in her words saying, "She was a beautiful, beautiful soul. There isn't anything anyone could say bad about Khadeejah. She was like a gift I got." From small, she went to kindergarten school. Then at the primary school she was valedictorian. When she went to secondary school, it was the same thing. She came first in exams. Khadeejah was beautiful as she was intelligent, but according to her mother, her death was a murder by way of the evil conjured by someone who was jealous of her brain and beauty and wanted it for themselves. She said it was like they sacrificed my child. It's spiritual. People are going by evil people to do people evil things. It's going on, and don't tell me that it isn't going on, and these things are medical. Everything is not medical. Everything can't be just written away. As fictional as it may seem, many cultures and religions believe these dark magic crafts of the spiritual realm to exist, and given the drastic change seen in Khadeejah, what's more, it was after she went to pray at this Mount St. Benedict location, can we really deny it may have been something cast upon her, with ill intent, as the mother alleges? Look at the state of the world. Youths are now claiming to be demons openly, acting in evil ways, taking lives without hesitation, for sport even. Wars purge the land of the elderly and children. Morals and principles are becoming a thing of the past. Some would say that not only Khadeejah, but the entire world is under attack by demonic entities. Just in her case, it's alleged she was the target of someone jealous of her life and budding future. An autopsy was scheduled for Friday, December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas. Senior police sources told Newsday the case was being investigated at the divisional level with oversight from the Homicide Bureau of Investigations, pending the results of the autopsy. The source said if the cause of death was determined to be unnatural causes, it would be treated as a homicide. If, however, it was found to be otherwise, it will remain with the division. A police report said Khadeejah's body had been taken from the health facility and sent to the San Fernando General Hospital mortuary, where the autopsy was done on Friday, December 22nd, 3 days before Christmas. Khadeejah's mother, Jennifer, would provide Newsday with the autopsy documents that showed her daughter died from hypovolemic shock caused by severe blood loss from an upper gastrointestinal hemorrhage, which is bleeding commonly caused by ulcers. Hypovolemic shock occurs when a person loses a significant amount of fluid or blood, which prevents the heart from pumping blood throughout the body. It can cause organs to stop functioning, according to United States-based multi-specialty academic medical center Cleveland Clinic. People who experience hypovolemic shock lose more than 20% of the amount of fluid in their body, which could be from a severe injury like cuts or burns, internal bleeding, vomiting, or diarrhea. One thing that caused authorities to raise an eyebrow at the results of the autopsy was the final cause stated for Khadeejah's death: a clinical psychiatric disorder. A well-placed senior police source questioned how a pathologist would be able to determine a psychological cause of death from a physical examination and why it would be listed on the certificate. A physician with experience in hospitals told Newsday a psychiatric issue is a diagnosis of exclusion, which would have likely been made in the absence of any physical explanations for the behavior in the autopsy, like abnormalities, such as a tumor in the brain. However, the source said it was unusual for the psychiatric disorder to be included in the death certificate of someone who had not previously been diagnosed with the condition. Also, people questioned if the results stated in the autopsy could cause someone to fall into such an uncontrollable state where they're nothing like their previous selves, talking in unknown languages, attacking family members, hurting themselves, and speaking as if the devil is manifested within them. The autopsy gave reason to the cause of death, but what was the reason for the cause of her demon-possessed behavior? It's assumed that was the cause for the inclusion of the clinical psychiatric disorder diagnosis questioned by the physician. A psychiatric disorder could explain her massive change in mental state, but according to the experienced physician, that diagnosis can't be made soundly from a physical autopsy. For some, this gives credibility to the mother's conclusion that her daughter was murdered by a demon placed on her due to someone's ill intent. Culturally, this occurrence is something the older generation always told their children, something as simple as accepting a pencil or pen from a friend in school and bringing it home. Kids were scolded and told to take it right back to the owner, or if they found school supplies, to leave them wherever they found them. because persons could have worked obeah on the item, which would bring a curse to their life. So the mother, growing up within this culture, was aware that what she alleged happened to her daughter is something heard about for decades, dating back to the country's roots. Let me know in the comments if you believe that demonic possession is real and that Khadeejah was the target of someone's ill intent toward her achievements and bright future. Currently, the police source said the autopsy results did not reveal anything that pointed towards murder. However, they said a full investigation would be done to see if any liability could be assigned for Khadeejah's death. Reports state the Southwestern Division would be conducting the investigation with oversight from the Homicide Bureau. Whatever the case may be, murder due to a demonic curse placed on Khadeejah from a jealous onlooker, or a mental break and internal damage to her body, a young, promising woman lost her life. What's worse, around the time of year when family is championed. Her loved ones left to mourn her passing are struggling to come to terms with the entire ordeal. This was evident in social media posts from family members like her sister, who grieved the loss of her loved one. The world is both beautiful and dangerous. Be careful and embrace loved ones while they are close. Collectively, the island mourns the loss of Khadeejah's life. If someone is indeed responsible for Khadeejah's passing, I pray justice finds its way to behind the darkness they hide. Khadeejah was laid to rest on Friday, 29th of December, at 2 p.m. at the Cedros Anglican Church. Please leave some positive words for her loved ones in the comments. May her family find strength in the aftermath of the tragedy, and Khadeejah finally find peace after what she endured. This has been an episode of Mystories, where true stories from around the world come to life. What stories come next? Like, share, comment, and subscribe to never miss what intriguing chronicles will be told.